Hey, we've had a lot of rain the last day or two, and last night it rained real hard. And I thought I'd stop here at my favorite spot and show you the river before we go up into the city. Water's running really, really strong. You see people over there fishing and wading out in that water. I don't know if I'd want to do that or not. There's quite a lot of activity up here today. Water's going real strong. But anyway, we'll head up to the city. There's a place up there that they've just they've done a lot of construction around the klong up there, make it very easy to access, and put a nice walkway up there. The governor was up there, just up there yesterday, and kind of opened the place up. So I figured I'd go up there and walk around a little bit and tell you a little story and just see what's going on. Anyway, if you enjoy stories and enjoy seeing different places, that's going up. Oh, there we go. You know, enjoy seeing something different. You know, subscribe to the channel. Leave me some comments. I'd really enjoy hearing what you've got to say. And if you enjoy this video, click like. It really helps the video get out to other people, and YouTube kind of pushes it out a little bit better. But let's get up to the city and let's get walking the klong. Hey, well, welcome to the channel. It's Wednesday. It's about 12:30. And I thought I'd come up to the city. They just opened up an area just off of Campang Den Road that runs along the klong, and I thought I'd show it to y'all. The governor was out here yesterday and just opened it up. I've been watching them, you know, build out here and dig up the klong and build a nice walkway out here, but I was kind of waiting for it to finish before I did the walk. And it's a nice day out. It's rained real hard last night and most of the morning, and air's nice and cool, and figured it'd be a good day to walk out. And I've got a little story to tell you. I'm going to tell you a story about the night I came face to face with James Earl Ray in the middle of the night. It's kind of an interesting story, but this is where we're at, and you can see they're still working on it over on this side, but I think we'll take the other side. Now, eventually, you're going to be able to walk from that way and just keep straight walking along the klong. It's going to be real nice when they finish it. But now I have walked the area to the left back a few months ago. But we're going to go down the right side here. And they've really, really fixed it up nice. Great day to be out walking. See, people are walking on the other side. I saw some pictures of people walking on bicycles the other day. We'll see how far it goes. That is pretty cool. Now, if they could do this all along the klong from up on the north end down to the south, that'd make a real nice walkway. But anyway, back to the story. Back in, I'm going to say it was 1991 or 1992. I was assigned to the drug task force, three different counties. And I was still attached to my own department, but I was assigned to work for the task force. And as best as my memory serves me, it was about the day or two after Christmas. And generally from Christmas to New Year's, we pretty much tried to stay pretty close to home. We weren't required to go into the office unless something bad happened. And usually we use that kind of downtime, you know, spend with our families and enjoy Christmas. Most of the time, that would be interrupted. I can't think of too many years between Christmas and New Year's that I got to spend the whole, the whole entire time with my family. Usually, I can think of numerous homicides and things like that that happened during that time. And at some point I'll do a video on, some of those homicides as well. But I was at home and I got a call from another officer in one of the other counties. It was a dog handler. And at the time I was working a canine dog too. I had a black lab that was a really super good drug dog. And she called me and she said, tomorrow night we're going to raid the prison. The warden has called me and wanted me to get some drug dogs up, because apparently after Christmas, or during Christmas, they let the prisoners get gifts from home. And he was afraid that in some of those gifts, some drugs had gotten in. And he wanted to raid the prison in the middle of the night, which, that's understandable. But this prison, particular prison that I'm talking about is Brushy Mountain Penitentiary. And it's located in Petros, Tennessee, which is kind of mid-eastern Tennessee. And it was probably about 100 miles from where I lived. And we devised a plan. I didn't know how to get there. I'd been there one time before, back in about 86 or 87. I had ridden in a transport to deliver a couple of prisoners up there, and I'll tell that too. It's really wild. But anyway, we were going to meet down in Chattanooga, and there's one road called, I believe it's Highway 27, that would take you right up. And we met at about 10:30 at night, and it was pouring down rain. It was really a nasty night to be out driving, but we really didn't have much choice. And I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know how to get there from there. So there was like 4 or 5 of us in different cars, and we all I got to the back and followed them up there. It was foggy and just misty and just nasty, nasty weather. Oh, this is cool. Wow, chickens along the klong. This is pretty neat. But anyway, we started our drive to get up there, and we get up to the town, and her instructions were to get to the center of town and then call the warden, and the warden would meet us and get us into the prison. So we finally got up there. I mean, it was a knuckle buster to drive up there in the rain like that, and I'm not a fast driver, but these guys were. They just, they just wanted to get up there, and they're flying in that rain. I thought, God Almighty, we wreck up here, nobody will ever find us. But anyway, we get to town, we stop at a convenience store. It's probably about a half a mile from the prison. She calls the warden up, and we're all kind of standing out there and, smoking a cigarette and drinking a Coke and stuff. And here comes this old guy pulling up this old beat up old station wagon, and he gets out, and I took one look at him, and all I could think about was the Hunchback of Notre Dame. The little guy that was kind of bent over and had that funny eye that, kind of looked out the side of his face, and that's what he reminded me of. And he comes up and introduces himself as the warden, and what he tells us is he wanted us to stay about 4 or 5 car lengths behind him, because he was going to drive up to the guard shacks, and that gets you into the prison. He was going to jerk the phones out of the wall because he was worried about the guards calling the prison, telling them we're coming. Now I think we will walk this way, and then maybe we'll cross over that bridge, or I'll walk on the bridge now and maybe get a better look. Yeah, see, everybody's out enjoying this. So we get in behind him, And sure enough, he, hello. I think we'll walk on this side now. And there's another bridge down there. This is really cool. See, if you bring in your bicycle, you can just walk your bicycle up here. But he was concerned about the guards as well. And he told us before we went in, he said, if your dogs get near any of the guards and start reacting, you know, I'm the boss here. You just feel free to pat them down right where they stand, because he was really concerned about his guards bringing drugs in. So he slides up to the gate and he goes running in, and he comes back. He's got 2 telephones in each hand. He says, come on, boys. And we just hit it. And the only thing I can describe to what I saw when we left that guard shack was just this, and I'm going to put a picture of the penitentiary, but the clouds. This place is built down in a gully with rock walls up the sides. Hello. And it was just a spooky feeling. Swati Kap. And it's just a spooky feeling. You see this place off in the distance, and the fog's kind of rolling in, you know, off the big spotlights that they've got on the mountains. And we go rolling up to the front door, and he opens up the door, and in we go. And the guards, you know, look kind of shocked. And we get our dogs out and go on in, and I got sent up to the 2nd tier. Now you walk into this place, and you walk into a great big kind of reception area, and you know, steel doors slamming behind you and in front of you, and just, you know, walls just about as high as you can look up. And you get into the inmate areas, and there were 2 tiers. There was a lower tier and an upper tier. And the tiers on the top, you know, they were all fenced in, so you couldn't throw somebody off the catwalk. And it was really, it was spooky. And I had 3 guards with me. And what they would do, we walk up to a cell, and they called everybody to the bars. As soon as we hit the door, they said everybody hit the bars, and you could see them all with their hands outside the bars, so they knew they wouldn't hide anything. And we went from cell to cell, and you know, they'd open up the door, and I'd let the dog go in. He'd sniff around a little bit. They'd toss the mattresses on the floor, and you know, just crap like that. And the prisoners, they didn't really, you know, it looked like something that they were used to, but I don't think they were used to it in the middle of the night with a dog going through their stuff. But we went from cell to cell, and we get down this dark hallway, and like I said, we're up on the 2nd tier, and the walkway is a lot narrower than this. I mean, it's probably, the walkway that we're walking on is probably from about here to the edge, and it's just steel sheeting that we're walking, you know, as we're hearing it clang. It's just, you know, you got no room to really move. But anyway, we get to the cell, and they open up the door, and this old man comes walking out, and he gets on the bars, and I walked in his cell, and the only thing that was really in there was an old TV set and an old typewriter, you know, one of those kinds. It wasn't an electric typewriter, it was one of those beat typewriters that you put your in. I had no clue who it was. I didn't really think anything about it. And I searched his cell, and I was bending down with the dog, you know, because the dog was kind of sniffing around stuff, and I'm kind of watching where his nose is going. And I turn around, and the guards are like probably 10 feet away from the door, and here's this old man standing over me. He's got these black, you know, glasses on, and he's looking over the top of his glasses at me, no more than 2 feet from me. And I'm thinking, ooh, you know, it kind of gave me an eerie feeling. And I just kind of looked up real fast, you know, and he stood up, you know, straightened up real quick and kind of went back to the bars. And I didn't find anything in the cell. And as I was walking out, the guards came walking back. And, you know, I had this strange look on my face. And they had this grin on their faces. They said, "Did you know who that was?" I said, "No, I have no clue." He says, "That was James Earl Ray." And I thought, what? You know? And just kind of sprung me. There I am, you know, searching the cell of the guy that, notorious killer that, you know, shot Martin Luther King back in the 60s. And it was just an eerie feeling because, you know, the stories that went along with Brushy Mountain Penitentiary were just unreal. It's the same penitentiary that the Green Mile was filmed in. It was really, it had a reputation. If you got sentenced to prison, the last place you wanted to get sentenced to was Brushy Mountain Penitentiary. This is going to be really nice when it's fixed up. Now, I don't know how far south we can go, but we're going to keep walking. I'm going to try to get on the other side and walk the other side coming back if I can cross over somewhere. But all 4 teams, we didn't find anything. The warden told us when he got back out, he said, you know, when he opened up the door, he could hear the toilets flushing from outside the prison. And, you know, that's just the way it was. You know, I can venture to say that after we left, there wasn't any drugs around. But it was an interesting experience. Like I said, I had been there once before, back in '86, and we had 2 guys in the jail that were really creating a problem, and we wanted to get rid of them. So they had found 2 beds at Brushy Mountain, and I went in that morning with another officer. Well, I don't know if I can go further or not. We're going to try. Might get off the beaten path here. I'm just wondering if I'll be able to cross over to the other side. But anyway, we went in early in the morning into the jail, my own jail, and they had these guys ready at 6 o'clock in the morning for us to take out. And they wouldn't tell them where they were going until we had them cuffed in the back of the car. And 2 big old guys. And when they found out they were going to Brushy Mountain, they were not happy. But by that time, there wasn't anything they could do about it. And but we drove up to the prison and we pulled up. And when you got up there, you pull up to the wall. And I can only explain this wall as like you feel like you're in Star Wars or something, you know, where you look up and it's just as high as you can see. And there's a sharpshooter up there in the tower. And hello. Get away from that. I don't want music on there. This is really cool. Yeah, they're going to do the other side too. Looks like I'm going to be stuck on this side for a while because they're not done there. But yeah, they're fixing that all the way up. That's going to be a nice walk. But anyway, you pull up and you stop your car at these big steel doors that are just, well, they go up the whole entire wall, which is, I'm going to say the wall has got to be at least 30, 35 feet high. And it's just a solid steel wall. It's got razor wire all over the place, and it's the door is split in the middle where they can open it. I think I would be best off turning around here and then crossing that bridge over to the other side. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. But anyway, you pull up and you get out of the car, and the sharpshooter up in the tower will he'll drop a basket tied to a string or a rope, and you have to put your guns in the basket, and then he pulls the rope up, and then you get back in the car and they open up the doors. And sure enough, I got out of the car. I got my partner's gun and I got my gun, and we stuck them in the basket, and he hauled them up, you know, and kind of waved us on. And I got back in the car, and the doors opened up. And you pull into this little, I mean, it's probably big enough for 2 cars, and you just solid walls straight up. And this place is made of rock. And I'll tell you a little history on the prison as well. But you pull in and they close the doors behind you. And even though you know you're leaving, when those doors slam behind you, it's just a creepy feeling. And I turned around and looked at both of those guys, and you know, they were mean dudes, and they both had the fear of God in their eyes. And the next thing you know, 3 guys come out, and they were built like Hulk Hogan, all 3 of them. And they snatched those 2 guys out of the car and grabbed their little bag of stuff, and off they went. You know, I don't even think their feet hit the ground before they hit the door. The door slams, and we get the sign that they're going to open up the gate behind us. We back out, and they shut the doors. And it's a good feeling when you're outside those walls. And I got out of the car, and sure enough, the sharpshooter, he lowers our guns, and we get back in the car and get out of there. But it was just it was an awesome feeling. You know, I had sent a lot of people over the course of my 23 years. I had sent a lot of people to that prison, and you know, it was just a weird feeling going back there and seeing what it was actually like inside. They've shut it down now. Now it's they've turned it into a tourist attraction. I would love to go back. If I ever go back to the States, I'm definitely going to go back and tour it again. They put a brewery in there, and they built another prison in the same general area, because the whole town, basically the whole town, worked at the prison. That's what supported the community. So when they shut the prison down, it left a big void. But they did build another one close by, and a lot of the people got to go to work in the new prison. Ah, this is a neat little bridge. We'll cross and get onto the other side. Now, at some point, I'll get on the road on the other side of this and do a walk in front of the houses. I had planned on doing that at one time because you couldn't get back in here. And it's coming from the temple over there. But that's my Brushy Mountain story. And that prison was built back in the late 1900s. And back then, the state of Tennessee used their prisoners to mine coal. And a lot of people were killed in the coal mines. And, you know, their living conditions were just horrible. And the state finally shut it down as far as a coal mine. And then they used prison labor to build the actual prison that's there now. And I'll try to put a picture up of it. It shows it's built in the shape of a cross. And all the rock and stuff is right there in the same area that the prison's located in. But it's really, if you ever go to the United States and can go see Brushy Mountain Penitentiary in Petros, I highly recommend it. I've watched some of the videos of the tours, and they've got some of the prisoners that were actually there as the tour guides. It's really interesting. Wow, that's cool. But I understand James Earl Ray, he died a couple of years later. He had escaped back in the 80s, I'm not exactly sure what the date was, but sometime in the 80s, he had crawled out through a wall and he had got into the woods, and he was out there for, I think, about 3 or 4 days before they finally caught him. But to try to escape from that place, it's out in the middle of nowhere, and it's all woods and bears and just terrible terrain. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, you making something? She's sewing something. Purse? Kapow? Okay. And, but they snatched him back to prison. And I think he tried an escape one other time and was unsuccessful. I wonder what's that? Yeah, wow. That would probably take me out to the road. This would be nice. I'll bet you they end up putting railings out here eventually. But that's my Brushy Mountain story, and I never really interviewed anybody about the conditions there. I mean, I had talked to a bunch of people that had been sentenced there and got out and recommitted crimes, but it never really dawned on me to interview them about the conditions in there. It would have been something pretty interesting. This is really cool. It will be nice when they finish on the other side of Campaign Den Road, where you can just walk straight through. So, I would venture to say that these houses along this walkways will turn into stores eventually. And because this place will get a lot of traffic. But that's in my career, I've probably run up on 3 or 4 famous people. He is the only famous criminal that I ran up on. The other guy that I met was Jeff Cook from the band Alabama. He was attending a training seminar that I went to with the U.S. Customs Service, where they cross-trained local officers to be customs agents. And he was in the class. Really nice guy. We went out to dinner with him a few times. And the other guy that I met, I'll get by this banging. Man, there's a bunch of little alleyways in here. It's like a maze. The other guy that I met was a guy by the name of Phil Driscoll. And probably a lot of y'all don't know him. He was the trumpet player in Joe Cocker's band, Mad Dogs and Englishmen. And he did the tour with them, you know, when they had Leon Russell and all that. And he had basically found religion and moved to our city and started a thing called Mighty Horn Ministries. But the thing that I liked about the guy is he owned a lot of airplanes. And he had a jet, he had a twin engine, and he also had an ultralight. And at the time when our department was considering buying an ultralight, he took me up in his, and we were able to fly around a little bit. I liked it. I enjoyed it. The only thing that my department wanted a one person ultralight, and I basically told him, I said, that's not feasible. You need to have one person flying and one person looking. And they wouldn't go the extra money for a two passenger plane, so we never did get one. But I did get to fly with him once. We were flying over the cornfields in Tennessee. It was pretty neat. His luck kind of ran out on him after a while. He got indicted by the federal government for income tax evasion, and I believe they took all of his planes and a lot of his money. And I'm not sure if he got prison time or not. I think he did. But I didn't pay that much attention to it after that. But those are about the only 2 people that I can remember. I do remember one time that Britney Spears was being stalked by a guy that lived in our town. And we never did get to meet her, but her security manager came to our department and talked to us about it. And we went over and had words with the guy, and that was pretty much the end of it. And then the other time was Jim Neighbors from Gomer Pyle. He was being harassed by a couple in our town. His family lived in Alabama, and he lived in Hawaii, but his family was in Alabama. And this girl was claiming to be his illegitimate daughter. And, you know, she was wanting to cash in on the money. And they had started harassing his family down in Alabama, and he'd hired an investigator out of North Carolina to look into it. And he came over, and we rode him around for a while, and really shouldn't have been anything we got involved in. But, you know, as a favor, you know, we did. And we were sitting in the office one day, and the investigator was there. He says, "I'm going to call Jim." And hell, it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon over there. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. And he got Jim on the phone and hands the phone to me. He said, "Here, talk to him." I said, "Hell, I don't know what to say to him." He says, "Hello?" And I said, "Well, golly." And he just kind of cracked up. I don't know whatever happened to that. There was an attorney involved in it in town that I did talk to, and he claimed it was legitimate, but we never heard of any settlement. We never heard of any funds being dispersed. You know, they may have settled, they may not have. Hell, who knows? I don't know. Well, we're back out to the end, and hopefully someday you'll be able to walk straight through on the other end. Now there is a way to get there, and I'll show you in case you want to come down here and walk. It's not a real easy walkthrough, but you can. And then once you get through that little area over there, you got a real nice walkway that takes you up right across from Gecko. But what you have to do is you have to go down to this first street here on the left, and go to the left when it turns, and then you'll see a little entranceway to the right, and you can get back, and it walks in between the houses, and then you get right back out on the Klong. There's somebody's nice BMW here, but it's not here. It's down this street. I'll see if I can get across the street. Kind of show you where the entrance is. I've walked it before, but I can't remember which video it was. Yeah, it's right down. Yeah, you walk down here and just keep walking straight, and you can see that little orange building with the roof on it right there. I believe you go to the left of that, and it'll take you right back out to the Klong on the other side of this road. Or maybe in between it and that house. I can't remember exactly, but there is a way to get through. We'll walk down here a little bit and see. We've come this far, it won't kill us. Some nice places back here. Be a cool place to live, that's for sure. There's one for rent or for sale. Yeah, right down through here. You just keep going straight. Now, I ended up in somebody's backyard that had a bunch of birds when I came through, and it may have been right here. I can't remember. It may have been through here. But yeah, back in through here will take you right back out to the Klong on the other side. Pretty cool. Red brick scorpion adventure. Flight of the Gibbon. I don't know if they're still in operation or not. BMP house. Well, listen, I'm going to let y'all go here, and I hope you enjoyed this video and this little story. I've got a couple other stories too. I've got a ghost story that I'll tell you. I don't believe in ghosts, but Lex says that being I don't believe in ghosts, I've got to tell the story. So she's the boss. I'll let her tell me what to do. But anyway, I appreciate you all stopping in. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.